It was the summer of 1996, and I just moved into an old farmhouse a few miles outside Savannah, Georgia. You know the kind, wide porch with a swing, paint peeling like sunburned skin, and windows that stared out like hollow eyes. I rented it for next to nothing. The owner said it had been in his family for generations, but no one stayed long anymore. That should have been my first clue. I was trying to finish a novel, something quiet and remote seemed perfect. Days passed peacefully at first. I'd sit on the porch, listen to cicadas hum, and write until my hand cramped. But then, things started to shift. Subtle at first. It was the attic door. I'd close it every night, lock it even. But each morning, it was open again, just a crack, like someone was watching from the dark. I blamed the wind. Maybe old houses creak and breathe in strange ways. But deep down, I knew better. Something felt off. Then came the footsteps. Always around 3 o'clock in the morning. Slow. Heavy. Right above my bedroom. I told myself it was rats, maybe a raccoon. But when I climbed up there during the day, flashlight in hand, the attic was empty. Not even a spider dared to linger long in that place. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I laid there, listening to those footsteps circle above me, then stopped dead center. It felt like something was standing right above my head. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my flashlight, and crept upstairs. The air grew colder with every step. My breath came out in puffs, like the middle of January. I reached the attic door. It was wide open. Inside, the smell hit me, damp wood, mildew, and something else, something like rotting meat. I swept my light across the room. Just boxes. Dust. Cobwebs. But then my beam landed on something new, a chair, just a plain wooden rocking chair, sitting in the middle of the attic. Rocking, ever so slightly, I froze. I hadn't seen that chair before. It hadn't been there. I asked out loud, "Who's up here?" No answer. Just the creak of that chair rocking slower and slower. Until it stopped, I backed down the stairs, not taking my eyes off that attic. I didn't sleep that night. Next day, I drove into town, asked around about the house. An older woman at the diner, Miss Hattie, looked me square in the eye and said, "That old McAllister house. Lord, child. They kept her up there." "Who?" I asked. "Eliza," she said, voice dropping low. "Daughter of the original owners. Born wrong in the head, they said. Screamed at night. Talked to folks who weren't there. Her mama was ashamed. Locked her up in the attic when she was just a girl. Kept her hidden away like a dirty secret." "What happened to her?" I asked. Though I already knew the answer, they say she died up there. Alone. Cold. And mad. Nobody found her, till the smell got too strong to ignore. I wanted to leave that same night, but I had to go back for my things. I waited until morning. As I packed, I heard it again, creaking above me. But this time, I didn't go up. I kept packing. I kept telling myself I was imagining things. But as I zipped my suitcase, the door to the attic slammed shut. Loud. Angry. Like something didn't want me to go. Then I heard her, a voice, low and broken, "Don't leave me." My heart stopped. I backed toward the door, keys in hand, and I swear to you, as I stepped outside, I glanced up and saw a pale face peering out from the attic window. A girl's face. Hollow eyes. Stringy hair. Her mouth moved like she was whispering something, but no sound came. I drove off without looking back. A few weeks later, I heard from the landlord. Said a contractor went in to do repairs and fell through the attic floor. Broke his leg. Said he saw the same chair I did. Rocking all by itself. He quit the next day. I don't know what's in that house. Whether it's Eliza or something darker, twisted by years of pain and silence. But I know this, some places remember, some rooms don't forget. And some attics. They never forgive. I still hear her sometimes. In my dreams. Whispering behind the walls, "Don't leave me." It started with a knockin' sound in the ceiling. Just a dull thud, soft, but regular. Most folks wouldn't think twice, reckon it's just a raccoon or maybe an old pipe knockin'. But I knew my house. And this knockin', it wasn't natural. It had rhythm. I lived just outside of Pepperell, Massachusetts. Bought this old place off Route 113, a creaky, two-story colonial with a red roof and a storybook porch. It was the kind of house that whispers when the wind blows. The realtor called it full of character. I'd call it something else now. It was late October when the noises started. Cold had crept in early that year, and I'd been spending most of my nights bundled up on the couch, watching the Red Sox and sipping bourbon. The attic above me groaned like it always did, but then came that knockin'. Same time. Every night. Round 2:17 a.m., I ain't one to scare easy, but after the fourth night, I grabbed my flashlight and pulled down the attic ladder. The air up there was stiff, smelled like mothballs and old cedar. I swept the beam slow across the space. Boxes. Dust. Nothing moved. But as I turned to head down, I swear I heard breathing, ragged and close. Like someone was waiting for me to leave. I didn't sleep much after that. Things escalated quick. My food started disappearing. Lights flickered. I'd leave drawers closed and find them open. One night, I came home from work, and my front door was cracked open. Inside, every family photo I had was laid out on the kitchen table. Faces scratched out. I called the cops. They came, did their sweep, said there were no signs of forced entry. Maybe a prank, they said. Or a neighbor's kid messing around. Told me to install cameras, so I did. I set up two, one in the kitchen, one fastened the attic door. Next night, I stayed up late, waiting. Around 2:15, the kitchen camera flickered to static. When the feed came back, nothing was amiss, except one thing: the attic ladder was down. I froze. Then, slowly, I walked over and stared up into the darkness. My hand trembled as I called 911. As I waited, I heard it, soft footsteps coming down from the attic. Whoever was up there. They weren't rushing. They were talking their sweet time. By the time the cops arrived, whoever it was had vanished. But they found something else, tucked way back behind insulation and beams, in a crawl space I never knew existed, was a small mattress. Food wrappers. A flashlight. A knife. And a stack of my clothes. Whoever it was had been living there. 4 weeks. Maybe longer, but that ain't even the worst part. The cops asked if I knew a Daniel LaPlante. Name didn't ring a bell. Then they told me about what happened in this town back in the 80s. How Daniel, as a teenager, had hid inside the walls of a house nearby. Obsessed with a girl named Tina Bowen. Watched her. Terrorized her. Lived in the damn walls, the kicker. My house. It belonged to the Bowen family once. Back then. Before they sold it after the whole ordeal, I started digging. Spent days at the library, looking through old papers, records. Found photos of the old LaPlante boy. Eyes like a fox. Real sharp. The librarian, a hunched lady with eyes like coal, told me she remembered him. Said he wasn't right in the head. Said he used to draw pictures of attics. Called them safe places. Weeks passed. I had the attic sealed. Cameras in every room. But I never shook the feeling that I was being watched. Then, one night, I woke to the sound of whispering. Couldn't make out the words. Just soft breathing and a low hum. I followed it to the attic door. Still sealed. But there, carved into the wood with something sharp, was a single word, hollow. I moved out the next day, the house's new owner. He lasted 3 weeks. Said he kept hearing someone breathing through the walls. And just last month, I drove by the place. Empty. Windows boarded up. But as I passed, I saw something in the attic window, a shadow. Still. Watching that, they say Daniel LaPlante's been locked away since '87, but I ain't so sure anymore. It was October of '86, just getting cold in Pepperell, Massachusetts. The kind of cold that crawls under your skin and settles in your bones. I lived with my mama, my younger brother, and my older sister, Tina. Daddy had passed on 2 winters before, and since then the house felt emptier, like a room that had forgotten its purpose. We started hearing noises first. Light footsteps when no one was walking. Whispers so soft you'd think they were part of the wind. Tina would come down the stairs saying someone touched her hair at night, but we just laughed it off. Ghosts, I told her. Probably just wind. But the wind don't breathe. Things started going missing. Mama's Bible disappeared from the nightstand. My brother's G.I. Joe vanished. Tina's perfume bottle turned up shattered in the sink. Mama said we were forgetting things, misplacing them. But I remembered where I left my flashlight. I know I did. Then came the cold spots. I'd walk by the hallway under the attic, and my skin would turn to gooseflesh like I'd stepped into a freezer. Once, I swore I heard breathing just above my room. I pressed my ear to the ceiling, held my breath. Slow, wet breaths. Like someone trying to stay real quiet. Tina had gone on a date with a boy from town. Said his name was Daniel. Something about him felt off, she said. His eyes didn't blink enough. He talked about spirits and rituals. She came home spooked. Told Mama she didn't want to see him again. We all thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. A week later, Mama was cooking when she screamed bloody murder. She said someone had written "I'm still here" on the mirror in red lipstick. We searched the house. Doors locked, windows shut. No sign of entry. But I noticed the attic door was cracked open. Just a sliver. Enough to see darkness. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, hearing soft tapping above me, like fingernails on wood. I finally got up, grabbed my flashlight, and crept into the hall. The attic door groaned as I pulled it down. Cold dust fell from the crack. My hand trembled as I climbed the ladder. The flashlight beam flicked across fiberglass and beams. Then landed on something that shouldn't have been there, a blanket. A half-eaten apple. A Polaroid of my sister sleeping. I froze. My lungs locked up. That was when I heard it, the soft sound of someone crawling behind the insulation. I dropped the flashlight, sprinted down the ladder, slammed the attic shut, and screamed for Mama. The police came quick. They searched the attic, the walls, the basement. And they found him, Daniel LaPlante, the boy my sister had gone out with. He'd been living in our attic for days, maybe weeks. He carved out hiding spots between walls. He'd watch us through tiny holes, eat our food, listen to our conversations. The worst part? He had a hatchet. He was waiting for a moment, the moment. Turns out he'd been in and out of homes before, sneaking in through basements, crawl spaces. But this time, he stayed. We never knew how close we were to dying. After he was arrested, I couldn't sleep for months. I'd hear creaks and check the attic 3-4 times a night. Every time I walked past a vent or a crack in the wall, I felt eyes. Even now, years later, I don't trust silence. I don't trust the dark, and I sure as hell don't trust attics. They sealed ours shut. Nailed it from the outside. But sometimes, on the coldest nights, when the wind is still and the air feels wrong, I swear I hear breathing up there, slow, wet breathing.